are you to doubt El Dandy?
This is Robbie Eagles.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
Hi, this is Mimic.
This is 5 times the world's heavyweight champion, the Scrap Daddy himself, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce.
This is Brian Alvarez, and you are listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Josh Armour, and thanks very much for downloading Wrestle Radio Australia. This is our first episode.
Oh, yeah! G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is the Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term kayfabe?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from OSW Review.
This is Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, and you are locked in
to Wrestle Radio Australia.
I in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H. Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke, slam on face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, turn like a muscle. If you suffer like tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the band, you best to get in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you wait down with that, then I got 2 is what you suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, hoping up the club. Let's be busy 23, got me feeling way too sweet.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. Put a square peg in a round hole, just never seems to fit. And you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Hello and welcome to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show, where my headphones are playing up already. My name is Lachlan Albert. I am so excited to do a podcast tonight, and I am joined by a man so grumpy when I complain about things on Twitter, he says I'm stealing his gimmick. It's the poor man's Dave Meltzer, Todd Eastman. Todd, how you doing, buddy?
Because you're stealing my gimmick. You're the bright, happy one. I'm the grumpy one. This is a chemistry that has worked for years now. Please don't screw it.
Just,
I'm the
then what am I?
Little puppy dog.
Just the dickhead who cracks jokes.
Well, not good jokes, but yeah.
And I'm also joined by the dickhead who cracks jokes, Geoff Setti. Geoff, how you doing, brother?
Now you're stealing my gimmick by stealing my jokes. Yeah, I'm well, mate. How's yourself, Locke?
Heyo! My gimmick is stealing gimmicks. It is so wonderful to be here making chicken salad tonight. And as you all know, we do it live at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia. So if you want to join in the conversation, make sure you're at that website. You can get in amongst it. As well as that, if you're following us on Facebook, we're streaming live there, so you can have your voice heard there. And you can also follow everything we do at Wrestle Radio AU. That's on X and Instagram there. Speaking of things showing up on X and Instagram and us doing a little bit of self-promotion, Todd, if you don't mind, Geoff and I might do a quick little bit of self-promotion, if that's okay.
I'm used to it.
Check out this beautiful little thing. Whoopah! That's right. The day after Elimination Chamber in Perth, Sunday, February the 25th, there's going to be a massive live podcast post-show featuring Geoff and I from Wrestle Radio Australia, and of course featuring the boys from On the Turnbuckle. We are going to be at the Dutch Trading Company for a 1 p.m. start, so you've got a little bit of time to wake up through your dustiness after Elimination Chamber. Entry is just going to be $15. It is dirt cheap for what is sure to be a show that, look, with the 4 blokes on that poster, it's going to be chaos. Let's be honest.
Lachlan,
it's going to be an absolute joy. Yeah, mate.
Who are the other 2 guys?
What?
Good
Geoff
point.
and I.
We've got...
Who are they? Who are they? No. Geoff, stay out of this.
It's Lyle and Welchie, right?
Talk about... Someone was Googling really quickly then.
Someone's like, quick, someone bring up my messenger with the group chat. Here's a fun fact. I've never talked to Lyle or Welchie in my life. The one thing I've said to them is, poster looks good, boys. Like, that's where I'm at with these gents. But knowing the amount that they have fun on the podcast and we have fun on the podcast, it's going to be a time. Tim Welch, it's the brain problems, okay?
You had this look on your face. I'm like, he doesn't know their names.
I've forgotten their bloody names.
It's going to be
but you know, Todd, I've forgotten your name plenty of times, Todd, so cop it, right? But yes, the important part about this isn't whether or not I know the names of Lyle and Welchie. The important bit is that you can get your tickets right now at tinyurl.com/WRAXOTT. Once again, tinyurl.com/WRAXOTT. That'll get you those $15 tickets for the Dutch Trading Company show at 1 p.m. on Sunday, the 25th of February. It's going to be an absolute delight. I cannot wait. Of course, presented by WrestleBrania. And Geoff, what's WrestleBrania up to in Perth?
When you're in Perth on the Saturday afternoon at 2:30, at Linnet's Lounge, there is a live WrestleBrania, including some fantastic guests that you've got in the opening, Todd. I noticed several of them are in the opening, and there's one who we haven't announced yet, who is our special guest referee.
Lachlan had this laugh.
We are announcing them soon. And one of our team captains is Welchie, Lachlan. Welchie from On the Turnbuckle.
Oh, Welchie? Brent Welch?
Brent Welch from On the Turnbuckle is one of our team captains. It's going to be so much fun. We cannot wait. 2:30 at Linnet's Lounge. Tickets are on sale now through OzTix. So go to OzTix and have a search, or go to our Facebook page or Twitter, and you'll catch them there. But yes, really, really excited about this. Tim's coming along, Lachlan's coming along, a few more are coming along. Tickets are moving quite quickly, so if you're going to go, you want to start thinking about nabbing them now.
Do we have a link up on the website? Look.
No, I'll fix that right after this show. Okay. That website, by the way, WrestleRadioAustralia.com.
Yes.
Yeah, I sure will. And Todd, while we're promoting shows, do you have a heavyweight championship match of some description coming up?
Next week. Not this weekend, next weekend. For the Pro Wrestling League Heavyweight Championship. I'm going to be helping as much as I joke around and say I'm going to win this title. I'm not going to win this title, but my protege, my charge, Tim Hayden will win the Pro League. I just want to be there my ward. I just want to be there to maybe punch out back at him in the face and maybe stab Steve the Croc again. It's basically all I really want to do.
You're telling me Todd, let me just, if Outback Adam and your boy, Tim Hayden, are both on the ropes, you're not going to take the chance for a roll-up victory to become heavyweight champ?
No, because you can't do that when someone's on the ropes. It's illegal. And I'm if anything, I'm for the rules.
Okay, thanks, Todd. Thanks.
Why do you say it like that?
I'm so mad. I'm so mad. You know exactly what I meant, Todd. And I think that Todd has said that he's not going to win the belt so many times. At this point, it's got to be because he knows exactly what he's doing. He's got a plan. Yeah, that's right. And we know that Timmy will back you up. Timmy wants to see you with that title. I
want to see Timmy with the title.
I know you want to see Timmy with the title, but I think Timmy wouldn't mind seeing you with the title, right?
I think Timmy would be very angry on the title.
I've seen some of your gym selfies, mate. The belt would look good around that waist.
Photoshop makes it look great. Yeah. Anyway, while we're talking about Australian wrestling, and as exciting as that is, as well as the exciting show that's on at Wide Bay this Saturday, get amongst it. There's been Aussie wrestling going on. In fact, We Are Renegades happened this past Australia Day long weekend, and one of our illustrious group was at the show. So we can talk results, but I want to hear some feedback on Geoff from this one, because We Are Renegades was last Friday night, or was it Thursday night?
Thursday night.
No,
Thursday night.
Thursday night last
Thursday night. So let's go down the card. I'm going to spit out results, but I want to review overall first.
Yeah, I was going to say
Geoff,
this isn't so much. This isn't so much a review because the three of us haven't watched it, but it's sort of like a recap from Geoff who was there.
I want to mention
when it goes up
before
on
you do though, I want to mention that the Northcote Theatre is a fucking great place to watch wrestling. It's beautiful. There's the bar is close by. It's at the back, so you can go and grab a drink if you want. There's a nice little upstairs area for some, and it's just a great arena to watch wrestling. And boy, howdy, Brent Welch said it, and I agree with him. The second half of that show is amongst the finest wrestling I've seen in this country. Up there with some of the MCW stuff, up there with EPW stuff. Really, really crash hot. Great show, like top to bottom, a great show. And also, shout out to Mickey Fortune. Mickey, lovely to meet you finally.
Do we have a ETA at all when it might be up on Fight or Triller? Sorry.
No, it was just announced that it will be, so not yet.
Triller Plus, Todd.
What I would say, not quite yet.
Andy PWDU jumping in with this show ruled. The title match was an amazing hoss fight. The main event killed, and it was the best Rumble I saw over the weekend. Big call there, but I think it definitely would be in contention. Let's talk about the matches that were on the show. First off, bit of a grudge match going on with Emin Usman representing the Ambush in a one-on-one
that was the main,
contest.
brother.
And that was the main.
I'm reading
I'll go
it
through
wrong way
the
round.
matches. If you don't mind, Lachlan.
No,
it's all out of order. You go through.
They're out of order. The night opened with Edward Dusk defeating Levi Nixon, JXT, and Tyson Reed for the final spot in the Rumble. This was such fun. Look, the four of them all had a great time. And it was a terrific opener. Really got the crowd there. The crowd were loud and part of it. And I think the right man won that spot. And it was really good. We then move on to the Ambush against the Velocities.
Just before you move on there, Geoff, I do want to talk about that stipulation, right? The having a match earlier in the night where the stakes are the winner gets the last spot in the Rumble. I love this gimmick. I think it's brilliant. It's such a good way to have the people who are pulling double duty for a Rumble where you need to have lots of people in the Rumble match to make it make sense that they're pulling double duty, right? Because if you're Edward Dusk, why would you want to work a match before going into a Rumble where there's a title shot on the line? Well, if that match can guarantee you the number 20 spot, of course you'd want to work it. Get that number 20 spot and then parlay that advantage into winning the Rumble. So all of a sudden, it's not confusing to pull double duty anymore. It's the reasonable choice. And I know that we've just heard for Pro Wrestling League, that's a match that Mitch Ryder is going to be in. Since taunting the general manager, he's going to be opening the show in the Feast or Famine match, which determines the last entrant, as well as the first entrant being whoever gets pinned or submits. I love this gimmick. I think it's such a great addition to these Rumble shows, and I love that we're seeing it more.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It was a great match. All four of them were just excellent. Tyson Reed is great. I can't say enough good things about Tyson Reed. Didn't really know a lot about him until earlier this year, but now, boy, howdy, is he good. And you can't speak any more about Josh and Ed Dusk, but Levi Nixon, great performer. Really nice high-flying style, got a lot of upside. Then we had the Velocities, and I think I remember last year I said that the Ambush were going to hold all the titles, and
I do remember you saying
they won.
that.
They won, and it was great. It was just a terrific match, and a really, really nice piece of work, and great to see Murdoch and Jarvis win the belts. Really, really good. I think we're going to see a year where Jarvis is not long without a title around his waist in one company or another. And then it was actually time for the Rumble itself, which was such fun. Like, this was great. They could all bring a weapon, and no spoilers, but Fun Time Phil comes out with chips, and I can't remember.
What? Fun Time Phil had chips? No way.
Yep. And the guy goes, "Oh, that's not much of a weapon." And Phil goes, "That's not my weapon. That is," and pointed to a big box on the stage, and out comes Ghoul. And it was just great. From there, you knew that set the tone for the Rumble, being fun and light and really frivolous and silly to watch. The winner was a bit of a surprise. Levi Nixon won it in the end. Bit of a surprise, but I think the biggest news coming out of it was Gino Gambino returned and beat the ever-loving dog heck out of Loverboy, or sorry, the aspirationalist, Lockie Hendricks. There are a lot of stories that emanated from this Rumble, and if you know Fresh and you know his booking, Chris Fresh writes amazing stories, and he certainly did here. So that was all really, really good. Then there was a break, had a quick break, and we came back with big meaty men just beating the piss out of each other, let's be honest. Ugg against Jake Taylor and Robbie Thorpe. While the result was a bit of a foregone conclusion, I think the match itself was such fun. Really, really great title match. All three are fantastic.
I think the match being fun was a bit of a foregone conclusion too, right? Like, those are meaty men who slap the piss out of people. That was always going to be the case. And it sounds like they delivered and then some.
Oh, in spades, mate. In spades. Just a terrific, terrific match. Again, foregone conclusion as to who was going to take that one home, but just a terrific match. I'm sure you're going to love it when you see it on Fight. Then we had Aisha against Mickey Fortune. Again, a bit of a foregone conclusion, but Mickey really showed something. It had a great pace. It was a really lovely match. And then, of course, you finish with Robbie against Emin. That's going to be something. And Emin's promo they aired before it is just beautiful. It's just a really, really nice promo from Emin. And this was terrific. This went on for a while. There was certainly nobody bored. And, you know, it was great. It was great. I was really pleased to see this. And the result was the right result.
Yeah, I think the strength of the ambush on this show really showed through, right?
Sorry, I told you we were going to ask.
Oh, yeah. When do they have a next show announced yet?
No, they don't yet. Okay. I'm sure it won't be too long. And I think that they're going to find a bit of a home in the Thornbury Theatre because the place was pumping.
You mean
it was
Northcote?
Absolutely pumping. Oh, sorry, the Northcote Theatre. I apologise. My mistake. The two suburbs are right next to each other.
World War then, mate.
The two suburbs are right next to each other. So
I know with Levi Nixon winning the Renegades Rumble, he's got the title shot there. I don't want this to sound negative. Does he have a chance?
What I would do is I wouldn't put Levi Nixon in for a while. I'd have Ugg facing other people. If it's anything like the way MCW run, it's like a Money in the Bank. You can cash it in at any time. You know, let's have a bit of drama around that. Let's have Ugg beaten down and then Levi run out and cash in. Who knows? I mean, who knows when he's going to pick his moment?
Is it for the main title or is it for like any title so that he could go for a tag title or something? I'm just asking.
Oh, he could go for. I think he could go for a tag title as well.
There you go. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, he could go for a tag title with his partner Sam.
But is he someone that you could
just
potentially see? Is he someone you could potentially see as the champion there, though?
That's harder because he's a tag guy, so it is a little bit harder.
There we go. Andy says they were promoting this as a title shot in their normal division.
Yeah, SGBs against the Ambusher. They'll have great matches. They'll have wonderful matches.
See, so that makes more sense then.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I saw it, I was like, that's a really interesting choice.
I think that for the moment, Ugg has a stranglehold on that belt, and it'll be a while before we see him lose it. But what a great show. Look, honestly, top marks, top-notch show. It's great being in Melbourne at the moment. MCW are producing great shows. Their anniversary weekend is next weekend. Not this one, not 2 days, but 9 days. And tickets to night one have already gone, and there's only standing room left on night 2. So that's fantastic. And I'm just looking forward to Renegades, when they drop their next event.
See, that's the thing I think maybe holds Renegades back a little bit is because they don't have that next event ready to go. They don't somewhat capitalize on momentum of the show. Like, because a lot of times you'll sell tickets the day after or even that night of the next show just through how good this show was and the feeling that the people have. But it's just, it could be something that just maybe holds them back slightly at the moment. I don't know.
Well, I was chatting with a few people, not to drop names, but I was chatting with a few, and they agreed. Like they work for Renegades, and they agreed that the momentum is kind of it needs to be built on and capitalized on. But I thought, like, as the first show at the Northcote Theatre, they're both on High Street. It's literally like 5 kilometres from each other. As a first show at the Northcote Theatre, spot on, just terrific. Great. It's like the Lithuanian Hall in Essendon, but a slightly upmarket version of that. So it's got that same intimate, close-in feel, but really, really something. I was so impressed. And the crew there, Jam and Ryan and everyone else there just looked after people so well and did a tremendous job. It was spot on. So, well done to the Renegades team, and we hope you're back really soon because it's just getting so interesting now. And probably one of the top 2 storytellers in Australia is Chris Fresh. So, let's give him a chance to do more. It's like 1.5 kilometres, says Andy PWDU. I mean, wrestling in the north side of Melbourne is just thriving. Speaking of which, WrestleBrain is coming to the Comedy Festival at the Catfish, April 7, 14, 21. Tickets on sale now. Go to the Comedy Festival.
Lachlan dropped out for a second, and all of a sudden you become Segway Boy.
Yes. But the venue was great. The bar being where it is really helpful for those who like a drink. And just wonderful. Just a wonderful.
See, I don't see an issue on it being like so close to the Thornbury. If you're not running on the same night or the same week, I don't see it as an issue. To be honest with you, it's just different flavors of ice cream. Like, you could like something about this company, and so you'll go to that company, but then that company's on the next week, you'll go to that company as well. Especially when they space the shows out as much as they do.
I think everyone can win from this. I don't think that it's one or the other, as you're basically alluding to.
Yeah.
People were like, oh, well, so-and-so won't like this because so-and-so's doing this and so-and-so. Look, the wrestling's good here. Let's just enjoy good wrestling. Let's enjoy good stories. And someone who could be a face in one company could be a heel in another. It just gives us a nice, like Emmett, just gives us a nice overview of what the guy's capable of.
Like, I have a question because I don't know geography of Melbourne at all. You said the north side of Melbourne is really strong for wrestling. Right? Is there anything on the south side that would or is it that somewhere where somebody could go and really establish themselves?
Because PCW hold their stuff in Ferntree Gully in the south. And there's one or two more. I mean, JXT's got his stuff out in Melton, which is just outside of Melbourne. But the opportunities are there to go to wrestling. So much good wrestling in this town. They're all backyarded in Melbourne. So says Andy. Not quite, mate. But
some of them.
It's really, really. It's really exciting to have this much good wrestling. And, you know, we've been raving for a long time about Dusky. I also I'm big on Robbie Thorpe. I think he's terrific. I think he's going to have a great match next week. We'll cover that a bit later. I mean, there's so much going on, and there's so much good stuff in Melbourne right now. It's positively exciting, and to have, you know, MCW selling out and to have Renegades doing well, what more could you ask for? And PCW regularly do well, like regularly do really well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they run weekly, don't they? PCW.
They run a small show weekly, and then they run their bigger shows every month.
They do their like Raws or SmackDowns every week, and then build up to a big show.
Yep. And Crackerjack is their champion at the moment, which is always like, you know, anytime you can go and watch Crackerjack do it, they're great. NDP WDU, Adrenaline is south, PCW is south, east, BCW is east, but then there's a few startups out west. We are so well serviced in Melbourne. Yes, we are, mate. It's wonderful. But, you know, I could wax lyrical about the show. The merch was in a great position. It's just outside the door, so you could go and get your merch.
That's not the only reason.
Oh, yeah. Andy just said it's why DMDU fucked up in giving the city-based home they were establishing. There are so many reasons for that, Andy.
There's giving up, and then there's getting told to give up. There's a difference.
Basically being told you didn't clean the arena well enough, so don't come back. Shoot, boys. Shoot.
No, because honestly, that is something that we've talked about with Davis Storm.
Yeah.
That like you leave the areas that you rent or that better than you found them, because then you not only do you give yourself a good name, you give wrestling as a whole a good name.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, terrific show. I can't wait to see more from Renegades. I can't wait to see some of the people I'd never seen before, but I really enjoyed. Tyson Reed, obviously Mickey Fortune. I'd seen Jake Taylor, I think, twice, but he was really good in our championship match. And everyone came out of that championship match looking better. Everyone.
I was going to say, because I really did hype like Mickey to you coming into it. Did she live up to the hype that I'd given you?
As a wrestler, certainly, and even more so as a human being. I just walked up to her and said, "Oh, hey, we've never actually met, but I'm Geoff. I'm on Wrestle Radio Australia with Toddy and Lachlan." And she was like, "Oh, yeah, she shook my hand and really smiled and just kind of had a quick chat with her and said, I just wanted to say hello." And, she was getting scurried off to like people going, "Oh, can I get a photo with you? Can I get a photo with you?" And absolute gem. What a lovely person. Really, really nice. And that was great. And then it seemed like the wrestlers were just hanging out and having fun after the show. I even caught a glimpse of the elusive Edward Dusk. So there you go. So
the elusive one.
And they are very much building to Lockie against Gino, which is going to be really good. By the way, Gino, I don't know if you listen to the show or not, but you look incredible, man. You absolutely look incredible. You've lost a lot of weight and put on a lot of muscle, mate, and it looks great. It suits you.
Yeah, believe me, he knows. He knows.
Yeah, he does.
He does. Know.
He does. And the story they're telling there is really interesting. I mean, it's no secret I'm a Chris Fresh fanboy, so they're doing good work.
Well, what we have here is a technical difficulty with young Lachlan has dropped out on us, and he's trying to get his computer up and running. So I'm not too sure. Hang on. Have we got another?
Hang on.
I don't give a shit what they're building to. I'm not wrestling Jim. Different Lachlan.
Lachlan just said he's not wrestling Gino. So Lachlan. No. I think you should strap the boots on one more time and go and wrestle Gino Gambino, mate. I think
you have to strap the boots on once to be able to strap them on one more time.
Oh, didn't he train? Didn't he do a training session?
Oh, he might have. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. So if he did a training session, come along, put the boots on, mate. We want to see it. It's what your crowd wants. So just before we go any further, I've heard from the guys over in Perth, and next week we're finally going to be able to have a look at EPW Vendetta. So we'll have that next week, next Thursday. Todd didn't know that before I just announced it because the email came through while we were setting up. So there you go. We'll have it. We'll be able to finally review it next week, and I've heard it's brilliant, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, no, I'm very, very interested in seeing that show.
Speaking of EPW, can I just put this plug in? Doing another little segue, boy. On the Friday night before Elimination Chamber, the EPW Super Show has some fantastic matches already announced. Do not miss it. If you're going to Perth, plunk down the X amount of bucks and just go and see EPW. Because they're the best kept secret in Australia, I reckon. And it's only because of distance
and it's not really even EPW, really. It's sort of like it's an Australian super show. Yeah,
an Australian wrestling super show. It's
Sorry,
going to be fantastic.
Lachlan must be watching, but he can't actually get on. So Lachlan said, I did a tryout, threw up everywhere, and was not offered a spot at the training school. Did you clean up afterwards, Lachlan? Is that the problem?
But Lachlan, I understand that you were not offered a spot in the training school, but that doesn't mean you can't put the boots on and go one-on-one with Gino Gambino.
Yeah, and if it makes you feel any better, I threw up so much during my Riot City tryout, and the only reason I got accepted was because I didn't stop.
I frequently throw up after this podcast, but that's just me. All right.
Hey, Tim, because Tim just said he's going to The Undertaker. So if you go to that Undertaker and there's a Q&A, how do you reckon that Q&A is going to go? Just quietly.
Especially after the events of the last, 7 days.
Yeah. I find that it's going to be an interesting Q&A set there, especially since he's doing a tour. I think it might last the first night, and then after that, he's like, I'm not going to answer any more damn questions.
There are some interesting videos on that we'll talk about later because I'm sure it's going to come up. So what do you want to do? Should we move on, or should we try and take a 5-minute pause?
Let's plow ahead, mate. We'll go ahead with the Rumble while Lachlan's trying to get his stuff, trying to get his shit in, and because I mean, it was a show that they came in, and then like everything was going really, really well with this build up for the Rumble. Like we were very excited when we did the preview, Geoff. We talked about that a lot. We talked about the options and then that big bombshell drop, which we'll talk about later in the news, and it sort of put a massive dampener on the whole show for a lot of people. I think
it did. I think the creative just went, we need to hunker down and just put on a show. No uncontroversial. Let's just put on a show. A solid wrestling show. I wouldn't say it was great, but it was solid. It shows you.
There was nothing that really blew your doors off on it, but there was some stuff that was really good.
It shows you the importance of surprises in a Rumble, though, because both Rumbles, particularly the men's, was fine. The ending sequence was great, but it didn't have any surprises. Where was RVD? I know he's with AEW, but where was, where was the only surprises in inverted commas were Andrade, and that was a worst kept secret in the world, and Pat McAfee. And okay, fine. I honestly would have preferred Snoop Dogg.
That was a surprise to Pat McAfee as well. He didn't even know he was in that thing.
No.
So all of that was improv. No, he didn't. He said on his show, I had no idea I was actually in the Rumble until that music played. That's why I was like, what am I going to do here?
I heard that the story was going to be that he was going up against a certain wrestler who was definitely booked and replaced by Bron Breakker, who was amazing, by the way. Bron Breakker came out of that a fucking star, an absolute star.
I'm just telling you right now that if he thought he was going to be in that Rumble, he wouldn't have wore the boots he was wearing.
No.
So that's why I believe the story, because I remember when I saw him getting up to him, I was like, how is he going to move with those boots? There's no traction.
I think
at
he
all.
showed up at the auditorium, and they just went, "You're in, mate. You're in. Just let's go, baby. You're in." He was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. It's not that the matches didn't have high points. They certainly did. And the crowd were as good as you can expect, especially for Bayley. Absolutely fucking going nuts for everything Bayley did. WWE, turn her face now. Turn her face like tomorrow.
Well, they're definitely leading up to it, because with what happened at Raw tonight, yesterday, sorry, it's going to lead to more stuff. Well, Monday, Tuesday, whatever the frick it is. It's going to lead to more stuff on SmackDown, which is then going to lead to. Do you know what I mean? Because they're sowing that seed. They're sowing.
They absolutely are. They absolutely are, and it's great. And they're telling the story deliberately and very slowly, and it's wonderful to see. Look, it was fine. It wasn't the best Rumble ever. Nia Jax is not a fan.
She's getting there. I know it sounds stupid because she's been there for friggin' years, but that stuff she did on Tuesday night or Tuesday or Monday or on Raw with Rhea and with Bayley as well, I thought it was really good.
It was good. It was good. I'll be honest.
You're right.
That's probably the best thing she's done. What's her name? Maxine Dupree? Wow. I mean, she messed up moves that other people take the bulk of, if you know what I mean. So I think she could be good. She's got a good height. She's certainly marketable, but she needs way more training.
Yeah, that's the difference. Like, you look at her, then you look at someone like Tiffany Stratton.
Oh God!
And Tiffany spent her time in NXT. That's where Maxine should have been. Like, I don't know how long she was in NXT, if she was at all.
Both Tiffany and Roxy looked, and Roxy's 5'1". She's billed as being 5'1", so I expect she's probably about 5 foot, 4'9", 5 foot,
4'9", 4'11".
Well, you know what I mean, like
5'11", exactly what you mean.
4'11", 5 foot, around that mark.
Yeah,
really good performer, like an excellent performer. I thought the Women's Royal Rumble was actually better. It was nice to see Naomi. It was nice to see Liv Morgan. Jade Cargill looked like $1 million, and Jordan Grace. How good was it to see Jordan Grace?
Not only that, but if you remember the last time when Mickie James was there, when she was the Impact Women's World Champion, they said that I think once on her entrance, and then that was the last time. Whereas Jordan was in there for a good chunk of time. She was in there for a good chunk of time, and then as she was in there, they kept putting over that she is the TNA Knockouts champion. The spot that her and Naomi did too in the middle of the ring was really, really nice too. They sort of hugged and just started brawling, which was great.
Beautiful. And I honestly thought, okay, we may see the Motor City Machine Guns in the Men's Royal Rumble, which had me or at least Alex Shelley or Moose.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex is the former TNA champion. Moose is the current TNA champion. But, I thought, well, that'll transfer through. It didn't. And I do think the men's lacked something. But they absolutely had the right winner. The fact that she was in at number 3 and she just kept working shows how much of an Iron Woman she is, how incredible she is. Look, you know how much of a fan of Bayley I am. I've said it for years. She's my favorite of the 4 horsewomen. And just a really nice Rumble, well booked, smart, fun, intelligent. I mean,
I will say too, because Bayley said it after the show, because I think somebody asked her about the makeup of the Rumble, and that there wasn't really any legends in it at all this year for the Women's Rumble. And Bayley was like, well, we have so many women now. We don't, no offense to them, but we don't need the legends. We have people that deserve that shot. They deserve a chance to to show what they can do. And that's
Yes.
like that's because you think about it, they brought in one extra person, they brought in Jordan, and that was it. Like Jade's on the books, the NXT girls are all on the books.
While that's fair, I'm not saying that's not fair. As a viewer at home, and probably a little bit in the arena as well, you want that pop of, holy shit, it's Bubba Ray Dudley. Or, hey, it's Rhino.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's Heath Slater. Wow. You know, it doesn't matter if it's, it wouldn't matter if it was Spike Dudley. You wouldn't care. It's just that thing of, oh my God, it's such and such. I haven't seen them in years. Great to see them. It gives you the nostalgia pop. It doesn't matter if it's a face or a heel, but it makes you feel good. It gives you the warm fuzzies. And I think that was definitely missing.
Yeah. Who would have you, just as a spitballing thing, who would have you like left out of the Rumble to put, say, a legend in for?
Absolutely, Maxine Dupree. Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, and then the men's?
Oh gosh. I mean, there were a couple in the men's midway through. I will say I was a bit disappointed that Chad Gable wasn't in the men's. I'm just going to have a look through men's Royal.
And neither was Otis, and neither was.
Neither was there
are a lot of them that weren't.
And I get that the roster is stacked, but there needs to be some kind of, you know, there needs to be that nostalgia pop, mate. It needs to be there because it keeps it from being just a run-of-the-mill Royal Rumble to something special. Now, certainly, seeing Andrade was great, but it just didn't quite hold together. Have we got Lachlan back?
He's back.
Look, if I'm going to drop out, at least I dropped out on a slow news week, right?
Yeah, nothing happened.
Not too much to cover. Yeah,
Hello, Mickey Fortune, my new best friend. Nice to see you again, mate.
Oh, God.
Mickey Fortune in the chat after all of the very kind things were said about her while she presumably wasn't here.
Yeah. Do you know what the thing was that
yes.
That sort of really didn't not disappoint's not the right word, but didn't live up to what I thought it was going to be? That was Jimmy and Jey Uso fighting each other.
I was fine with that because it was teasing something.
No, but I didn't think it was. I don't feel like there was any. I think, and I can't remember who I said it to, but I was like, I think it's hard for these guys because I think they genuinely love each other so very much for them to even pretend that they hate each other. So it comes across as they don't hate each other. They're just sort of fighting. You know what I mean? But like everything that's gone on in those two in the story coming into it, you would have thought when they got to face each other in the ring to start with, that would have been just all out, no slow moving. Let's just beat the living shit out of each other until the next person comes in. And it wasn't that at all.
But they don't hate each other. Like, that's the whole point. They're on opposite sides of a war that's not about them.
Yeah, but they do because Thing took away his, like, Jimmy took away Jay's title. Like, Jay had Roman Reigns pinned. And Jimmy took that away. And then Jimmy
did that to how many people?
Yeah, but that's not his brother, is it? Jimmy helped them lose, him and Sammy lose the tag titles. Jimmy's done a lot of shit to Jay.
Okay, I've got an answer to your question. You asked me who I would get rid of from the Rumble lineup to replace with legends. Okay.
Yes.
Got a few. Right.
You went through the list, didn't you?
Either. Yeah, if he's there, he's there. If he's not, fine. Omos.
Big body.
Definitely Omos.
Yeah. But that's the problem. They got that big body.
You're not an Homo sapien, Geoff?
No, I'm not an Homo sapien. Thank you. JD McDonough. You know, I like JD McDonough. He's great. I love that he hasn't had to change his ring gear from Jordan Devlin to JD McDonough. Cracks me up every time. And the Irish wrestler Rick O'Shea. It was nice seeing him, but he didn't really do an amazing spot. They're four that you could easily substitute out with. With
the only one I'll
legends.
I'll push back on JD because he's involved in something that was to do with like R-Truth being there.
Okay, yeah, I accept that. I accept that as a rebut.
The other guys like Ivar and Omos, they're big bodies, so they're going to be there because it's an attraction thing.
But how funny was R-Truth in that Rumble? Like over the course of the night,
which one?
The guy. Both were just hilariously fun. Especially
love
going
from
for the
SmackDown.
tag.
Yeah, but I also love that in SmackDown he thought that Nick Aldis was Adam Pearce.
Yeah,
and then couldn't believe how quickly he grew his hair back. And then during the Rumble, was like, "How did you lose your hair again?" That was Nick. Nick or Tom Mysterio.
I was watching with a party, right? I was watching at a mate's place with a whole group of us. There were about 10 of us watching it. And when he reached out for the tag, we all just kept going, tag, tag, tag. It just paid off so perfectly. The guy's naturally funny, really good, so happy. I was one of these people who was like...
I know he doesn't get the raps or the thing. Dominic as well. Dominic's,
a perfect foil for it.
He's perfect in the role that they've got him in, and he seems to understand that and like works with it smartly. Like I'm so impressed with how he's been over the last thing. Him and Rhea have got such a good chemistry together with the acts that they have going on, and even like just being that shit heel is a great role for him. He's so good at being that scared heel.
There's a wonderful video which is Dominic Mysterio trying Australian snacks.
Yeah, I saw that the other day.
The two of them being mates, and you can see they absolutely adore each other. And check that video out; it's really fun. And Dominic surprisingly liking Vegemite was quite.
Because I think if it was Rhea that did it, she spread it properly for him.
Yeah,
you can't just go in there unless you're in a seasoned Australian. You can't go in there and put it in on thick. You got to put it really light for the newbies until they get the taste of it. Because that's like as soon as I saw that, he's gonna like that because it's light,
nice and buttery.
Like, they're not smearing it on.
And then he put hundreds of thousands on there because the next snack was fairy bread, and he ate Vegemite with hundreds and thousands, and he kind of liked it. He might have been jet lagged,
I keep trying to say a real name. So did Rhea.
Yeah. So did Rhea.
Yeah. One thing I will say that I thought was a bit pants, and he's an Aussie, so it's hard to say this. That elimination that Bronson took was terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
It was rough.
That was one of those things where on the fly you almost have to think, hang on, you didn't get me, come and get me again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was a bit rough.
That was rough.
I thought, but yeah, the women's match was really, really nice. After that, we had the Fatal 4-Way for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, or as I like to call it, the predictable match of the night. We knew who was going to win this. Started slow, but really got somewhere. I liked that Solo Sikoa had the cameo, but didn't cause the ending almost. He was just involved in the match.
Yeah, there was a very much a collective groan when he showed up.
Yeah.
Not a hate groan. You know what I mean? It's almost like they've pushed this too far now.
Well, it's expected now as well. At what point is Solo going to come out? But I thought all four looked really, really good, and it was a nice match. Thoughts, Lachlan?
I think they were better off giving us like an interesting showcase of the three guys who aren't Roman, rather than having one person lose to Roman. Because no matter what, Roman was coming out of this night champion. That wasn't in question.
Yeah, that wasn't debatable.
I think it was a more interesting choice to actually give us something to watch where interesting things can happen between the ropes rather than just another predictable match.
Yeah, no, I completely
agree.
I completely agree. And like the end was good because everyone sort of hit their finish. So everyone got to see everyone's spot, so to speak.
I kind of liked it. I liked it. And LA Knight is crazy over. I mean, I don't get it, but he is.
That still burns you.
Did we talk about my match of the night yet?
Which is probably next, which was Logan Paul. Talking about here, Lachlan?
Yep, that's the one. I thought the finish was super clever. I think they're both great professional wrestlers in a way that is not just about their ability to do and take moves. They are good at all of the other parts of professional wrestling too. I'm really glad that this seems to be something that will culminate at Mania. Like that seems like the inevitable answer to this feud, because this was not a definitive end for it, but the end was exciting and interesting, and I love the ending with the brass knuckles distraction. Owens as a fighter, he managed to get him off the less experienced Paul, but then the referee disqualified him, even though it was Paul who brought them in. Great stuff. Brilliant. Yeah. And now we get to see this, and this was so the group I was with had an interesting little group to watch the Rumble with, and we fell off the Fatal 4-Way a little bit because it was so predictable, and we had just started differentiating the wrestlers by their different hair lengths. There was none short, medium, and long were the 4 wrestlers in the match, whereas this, we were like reading into it as like a discussion of class disparity, and like Logan Paul, who has walked into this as someone deserving, literally dressed in gold, while Kevin Owens has been fighting for this his whole life and has duct tape on his shirt. And that's the story we're getting, like someone who's coming from wealth and walking in at a high level, holding the championship that Owens deserves because he's a hard worker. And then Logan Paul has to take a shortcut anyway. And when Kevin Owens tries to take the same shortcut Logan Paul wanted to take, he gets disqualified because of it. It's a metaphor for class struggle, baby.
Jesus. The one thing I will say is that this was probably the perfect illustration of what WWE do better than what AEW do. Because that finish would never have been as good if it was filmed differently. Like the way they filmed that finish with the knuckles in like clear view and the referee's head popping up and seeing the knuckles, that was perfect. That was absolutely, that's wrestling 101. That geeked me more than anything in this. I was like, as soon as he popped, I went, because I thought they were going to see, I didn't think he was going to see the knuckles. I thought he was going to count the 3, grab Owens' hand to throw it up, to lift it up. And when he lifts it up, that's when he noticed the knuckles. That's what I thought he was going to happen. But when they did it the other way and he actually saw it for once, I've gone, oh, they've put some proper, like, they haven't made the referee look stupid for once, which a lot of times, a lot of companies will do it too.
Exactly that point. And this might, again, just be the way that I read too much into things. Did that finish make you guys convinced that Sami Zayn was number 30? Because that's what it did for me. The way that finish played out, I went, oh, that's got Sami's fingerprints over it. He's coming back.
No, I didn't even think about that at all.
No, I didn't think about it. Sorry,
that felt like such a Sami Zayn finish to me. That it was just like, oh, okay.
What I noticed also is they're really strong on naming referees again. Every referee's got a name. It's not just, oh, the referee didn't see that. No. Whatever their name is, the announcers are saying it. I thought also Cole did a fantastic job, just a beautiful job of telling stories in the Rumble. And his joy when McAfee came out was quite lovely to see. I think since the ogre's gone, we're seeing more and more of the person Michael Cole, and it's wonderful. Like I said, it's surprising how good it is. I'm loving this. I thought this was I thought this was a really, really fun match. I think we'll see more from this story in Perth. I think Perth is definitely going to be a chapter in the Kevin Owens and Logan Paul story, and I'm quite happy. I don't like Logan Paul as a person. I must emphasize that. But as a wrestler,
No, but that feeds into how good a heel he is.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Right.
I like that
I want
they
to jump on what you were saying about referees as well, Geoff, because this is not an isolated incident. Because referees are now selectable by name in the new WWE 2K game. Like, this is a new movement where, you can select which WWE referee officiates your match in the new 2K.
Is Jimmy Corderas there? He deserves the payday. No, look.
Who was the other one? Who was the referee? I don't know if you guys will remember it. Joey Morella. That's who it was. I was thinking of.
Joey Morella, yeah.
It's for those of you that don't actually know too. Gorilla Monsoon's son.
Gorilla Monsoon's son, who sadly died in a car accident at a very, very young age.
Yes, he was well on the way to being like the Hebner replacement too at the time.
He was going to be the senior referee, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And he was good. He was good.
He was very
good.
He was very, very good.
He got it. He was no AEW schlub, the guy that you like so much, Rick Knox. Is that it? Yeah, it's Rick Knox. Anyway, from there we move on.
Senior official Rick Knox.
From there we move on to the men's rumble. Really, I think the final four are all justified, and it was a pleasant enough rumble to watch, but there were no real big surprises. It was great. Cody winning. We had a little pool at the beginning of our Rumble day with my mates, and we all drew 3 numbers out because there were 10 of us, 3 numbers each, and the numbers you have carry over. And my numbers were 15, 24, and 26. So the women's Royal Rumble gave me Valhalla and a couple of others who didn't last very long, but the men's gave me Cody. So I walked out with $50.
Anything from like 23 onwards, and you're pretty lucky. 26, 27 is usually about the right spot you want to be for a Rumble draw.
Well, 26 was Damian Priest. 24, of course, was R-Truth. So I got the biggest entertainment value, but I managed to sneak it home with Cody.
That's the one thing I didn't get, because I had this weird thing where I thought he was 19. Because back when they did the draw, he looked at the number and he went, "Oh, do I have to quarantine?" Which made me think, hang on, he's drawn COVID-19.
Yeah.
But then it didn't happen that way. So I was just like, oh, okay, it wasn't that.
Mickey Fortune's off for the night. Thank you so much, Mickey. Again, wonderful to meet you last week. And I hope you make your way back to Melbourne soon. Because, it'd be good to hang. Look, I thought this was a nice Rumble. There was no surprise. Not one of those entries was really what you'd call a surprise. Everyone knew Andrade was coming back. There was Sami Zayn was, it was nice to see him. Ricochet was nice to see. There was nothing that made you go, holy shit, so-and-so's here. You know? Yeah. Even if they bring back Bo Dallas and not as Uncle Howdy, but as Bo Dallas and Hennig, Joe Hennig as the B+ players, I think everyone would pop for it and get a real laugh out of it. You know, those sort of things were missing.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is I think the final 2 went on for way too long.
I don't agree. I didn't mind it.
I felt like it just dragged. I was like, oh,
I'm
really a fan of that last 3 going pretty quickly.
I really liked Punk saying, "I'm not going to lose to Dusty's kid." I thought that was terrific.
I didn't come back just to lose to Dusty's kid. Which,
Kid.
as soon as he said that, I went, "Well, you're gone."
Really good, really good. What did you think of it, Todd? What did you think of the men's Rumble, mate?
Yeah, I think it was ordinary. I thought it was flat. It was like people are saying, it was flat. It was even when like Andrade come back, it was cool to see him back. It was cool to, like, he's in tremendous shape. He was when he was in AEW, but like, he's in tremendous shape. I like the face off he sort of had with Santos Escobar. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and maybe something that might continue into the future. Maybe I don't know, because there was, like, I think Andrade said something like, "Say hello to Vega for me." And one part of somebody.
Yeah.
Alex Fireheart says Bo Dallas surprise entrant moment would have been a nice pop, even just as Bray tribute. The thing is, I don't know if he's ready for that.
Yeah, but I think bringing him back as one of the B+ players, he can have fun. It can be silly and fun.
Yeah,
because
mean,
they weren't great. Or even bring back, I'm a mark for the guy, but bring back Damian Sandow and have him come in and cut a promo. I know he's working for MLW, but geez, that would have been fun. Really, it would have been a lot of fun.
But
if you're listening in, if you're listening in, Lachlan has sadly disappeared again. So
yes.
Go on. Sorry, you were saying we had.
We did have like Liv Morgan come back in the women's thing, and if you don't know, Liv Morgan is partners with Bo Dallas. So it was good to see her back as well after such a time.
John Reed makes a good point. The drag out at the end of the men's contrasted with Bayley dropping Liv so quickly after the Jade elimination. I would agree with that. I think it's nice. I think especially as it would have been like it was 50-50 on which of those two was going to win. And sadly Punk got injured. But because it was 50-50, let it play some time. Give it some time. And give it to, let's see what the two of them could do. Last year, Cody won like that. Like, he won really quickly. So it was nice to see him actually go out and trade some moves and things like that.
Yeah, it shows you how much those Rumbles nowadays are memorable to me, because I can't even remember how, like, Cody won last year.
Really quickly. I
just don't. Like, ask me anything from the 90s ones, I can tell you those finishes because I remember them. Like, etched in my memories. Yeah. But the later ones, I'm just a little bit meh. Like, the halfway through it, I'm just like sort of watching, okay. Watching for the next round. This guy, okay, this cool here. This guy's here. That's cool. This guy's here. That's cool. There was nothing really like, oh shit. I remember this is years ago now when when I was in Adelaide, we had a Royal Rumble party at my house, and I had a lot of the guys from Riot City over, and it was the one where Jericho came back, and just everyone lost their mind when his music hit.
Number 2.
So it's just like that was missing from this show. There was no real,
I think,
like, because Andrade, people already knew about Andrade.
I think it is. I mean, when Jay came out as number 1, I said Jimmy's next. I just went Jimmy's next.
Yeah.
I also would have swapped one of those people out for Montez Ford. I think Montez Ford is absolutely the future of that company. And I was a bit disappointed he wasn't in the Rumble. It would have been nice to have Montez in there. He's so talented.
Yeah, that's because I could have swore that no, it was only thing that drew to there. I was trying to think about, like, because they did a whole pre-recorded segment where people came in and drew their numbers, but now I remember it was only Bobby that drew a number.
He was with Bobby, but he didn't do that. All up, look, I thought it was fine, especially considering what WWE are going through.
Hang on,
which we'll talk more about in the second half.
Yeah, just didn't like Authors of Pain come out during the Rumble, and didn't like Street Profits come out in gear as well?
I honestly don't remember, but that says more about the Rumble than the actual.
Yeah,
I thought they were wearing suit and ties when they came out with Bobby. They might have been around for a few minutes. But it's always nice. Like an act like the Street Profits is always good to see. Both Dawkins and Ford is usually good. The only question I've got is the Kairi Sane elimination looked a little bit weird. Was just a little bit strange.
I think
she was going to cling on.
Yeah, I think she initially screwed up and both her feet hit the ground anyway, and they tried to hide it as much as they could.
Yeah, you could be right. Look, I thought the women's was much better than the men's, but all up, quite an enjoyable show. Like, it's not one I'd watch again, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah. They're at least smart that they only had 4 matches. Everything was really tight. There was nothing really leaving out how I think that they drew out those last 2 for Punk and Cody too much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's just a me thing. That's just my sort of thing. It was an inoffensive show, and let's face it, most of the people online or that everyone was talking about, they were waiting for that press conference at the end of the show. They weren't so much worried about the show, because I think that's what the main event was to a lot of people.
Oh,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
But we'll be talking more about that and some other wrestling news after we have a quick break. Don't forget, you can join us on Thursdays here at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia. And also, don't forget that you can still get your 10-year merch from tinyurl.com/WRA10 shirt. It's really nice. Lachlan would normally stand up and show it to you, but we don't know. No, he's fine. He's fine. He's just having some internet issues. So we're going to take a quick break.
He's
mate?
currently banging his head up against a keyboard somewhere.
Probably. He's like one of those water things. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah.
Nice job, Geoff. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a few minutes. So Todd and I can get some water and a refresh and come back with some amazing fucking wrestling news. Well, not amazing, not mind-blowing, but just not
definitely
surprising.
Yeah.
But maybe you know what we're talking about. We'll be back after this. Todd, what have we got today?
You got to give it. See, this is why you're not very good at this yet, mate. You got to give it that little couple of seconds break. But then again, Lachlan leaves me hanging out to dry anyway. So all the time.
Yeah, he does. And we were talking about having the break in the private chat. There is a private chat.
We were too. There's a shh. No, there's not. This is all perfectly run, very smoothly. It's all telepathy.
We just said things like break after this. Yes. So what are we watching today, mate?
Because I have our wide base show this weekend, which is going to be it's a tournament show called Rising Tide. What I did is I sort of cut up about, I think it's like 5 minutes of highlight clips from our last show, the last show of last year, where it's just the highlights of the show. So get you a little feel of what Wide Bay Pro is and the stuff that Lachlan and I do up in Maryborough, which is sort of like north, I wouldn't say North Queensland, but it's about 4 hours out of Brisbane. So this is where we play our time. Yes,
and if you're up that way, get tickets for this weekend. It's going to be a fun show.
Yes. I guarantee I won't be wrestling at that one. So hang on, we'll see if I can stage this thing and see how we go. Because he did.
All right, have a look at this, and we're going to take a break. We'll be back.
Let's start it up again.
Oh, I like that. You're getting the piss beaten out of you, mate.
Yeah. Okay.
I have to turn my
Oop, there we go. And we're back. Yeah, so there we go. Oh, sorry, Jeff's back as well. I didn't think he'd be back so quick. So there he is.
You're all right. Ignore the
I didn't
smoke
think
I
he'd be
was
back so
blowing.
quick, mate.
Yeah. Well, quick wee, quick cup of tea, and we're away. Okay. So, should we move on? I think we should. I think we should just move on because
because we're not hearing anything from. It's all gone dark in the.
I did send a message in our Facebook chat.
Yeah, sorry.
I think
Lachlan's giving up. He's tapping.
Yeah. Sadly, we're without Lachlan tonight, which means that the duty falls on me to go 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Making Chicken Salad. I'm your fill-in host. Thank you very much, Todd. It's always going to bother me. I'm your fill-in host, the boy who always pops at Todd clapping a few seconds later than everybody else, Geoff Setti, and I'm joined by the best manager ever, Todd Eastman. Is there any wrestling news this week, Todd? Have you heard anything since we recorded last Wednesday?
Not much has happened, mate. It's all been pretty quiet in the Western Front.
It's been very quiet. Okay, look, let's just talk about it and remember that it is a legal matter. Please remember It is a legal matter, so we do need to tread a little bit carefully. So if people are waiting for us to absolutely demonize a human being who's clearly a fucking demon, then I apologize. We're not quite going to go as far as we could. I thought that was funny. We're not quite going to go as far as we can because it is a legal matter. And even though we're in Australia, we need to be sure to stay a little bit conciliatory. Tim, we actually covered Netflix being on Raw and Dwayne Johnson being on the TKO board last week.
Yeah, that's when everything was so bright and shiny in WWE world.
So allegedly, a very brave young lady acknowledged that Vince McMahon had been grooming and used her for sexual trafficking. Allegedly used her for sexual trafficking. This has been denied by Vince McMahon, but pretty soon afterwards he was retiring again. It's come to light, and there are rumors that's why Shane left in the early 2000s. That's also why Steph did not last long when he came back. It's also why allegedly Triple H and Vince had a very fractious relationship in the last few years. What do you think of this, Todd? I mean, look, I'll give my opinion after you give yours, I guess. What do you think of all this?
Well, look, unlike yourself, because you're probably a smarter man than I got halfway through. I actually read the lawsuit. I've actually read the legal papers. Well, because I figured that we were going to talk about this, so I kind of have to be somewhat educated in what the actual lawsuit has in it. So I'll be honest. I got halfway through, and I'm like, I can't read this anymore. This is just terrible. It read like one of those movies, the movies where the woman just gets like trapped into something, and that's what it read like. It read like a movie, and it's just, and all of this is alleged, so we can't go out and say for certain.
But here's the thing: is there any surprise? Are you surprised by this?
Well,
Maybe you're surprised at the level of depravity, but are you surprised?
No, because I don't think anyone's surprised at that. Like, that's the thing. Everyone's going, and this is the thing that and I'll step out of it a little bit and talk about it like this, right? All I see around thing is like everyone's like, oh, Triple H should have known about this. Everyone knew what was going on, blah, blah, blah. I think he knew what was going on, as in, like, Vince has got a girlfriend. Vince has got, had girlfriends over the years. I don't think he knew to the level of what this stuff was. Because, I mean, how would you? Because it's not like, I think it's very different from, like, say a Vince to a Kevin Dunn, where they're not related. They're not like not blood related, but they're not like family related sort of thing. So Vince might pal up with the guy and go, hey, check this out, blah, blah, blah. I don't think he's doing that with Paul. I'd like the whole thing about the philandering. I think everyone knew. I don't think it's much of a surprise.
He was interviewed by Playboy in the 80s and acknowledged it. You know, Vince is the neighbor who'll play you pornography. You know what I mean? He's that neighbor who'll drop around and go, "Hey, I've just downloaded this animal porn. Why don't you have a look at it?"
And the funny thing is, I think Welsh and I were talking about it, and Welsh said, "Do you reckon he was like that with Linda?" And I was just like, "I don't think he was like that with Linda at all. I think Linda was the vanilla wife, and he went everywhere else to do all his dirty shit."
Literally, I think. Sorry.
Wow.
This isn't a joking matter, and I'm very sorry.
Wowee.
I think that the problem is also people who are shocked. When were they watching the product? I mean, what was it? 25 years ago, he was making Trish Stratus on live TV bark like a dog. This can't be a surprise. You cannot be surprised by this in any way, shape, or form. He's doing that in public. How is he behaving in private? It's really questionable.
So
and I'm like everyone else, I'm greatly disturbed by the allegations, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Andy says, Andy from PWDU says, according to the filings, he was so brazen that he showed intimate information to, while he's probably not showing his son-in-law. There's no way he could. You can't say that though, Andy.
Yeah.
You can't say that. Like, look, Geoff and I talk pretty much every day. Lachlan and I talk pretty much every day. I have no idea what goes on behind closed doors with Geoff.
No.
I have no idea what goes behind closed doors with Lachlan. And we are, like, Lachlan and I are close friends. Yeah. I don't know any of that stuff, and I don't ask any of that stuff. Do you think Hunter is really asking people what Vince is doing in his spare time with his mistress?
Yeah,
I think Vince is spending most of his time trying to keep him away from everybody because he knew he was a philandering prick.
Especially because, and if you look at it this way, according to everything I've read and one night I saw, Hunter and Stephanie have a very loving relationship. Stephanie was so upset by whatever was going on, allegedly, that she resigned when her father returned. Can you imagine how much Triple H doesn't want to fucking know about that? He just doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be involved. He doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't want to think about it. He just wants to go ahead and create good wrestling.
Yeah, he wants to try. I honestly think that's what he just wants to try and make it good now. He wants to try and make everything as good as he possibly can. And I mean that in a holistic, like a whole sense, not just like wrestling.
Saying that, I don't 100% think that he's going to come out of this smelling like a rose, unfortunately, simply because of proximity. You know,
here's the one thing that I'm thinking. This is why I'm thinking he's not that involved in it at all, because if you read the lawsuit, right, anyone that has sort of a name, they allude to heavily who it could be. Like they didn't name Brock Lesnar, but it was a former UFC, former WWE champion. There's not that many of them on there. So if you think if Triple H wasn't involved in this somewhat, they wouldn't have said WWE executive who was a former WWE champion.
Yeah,
they would have. Yeah, they would have done that.
Yeah, it would have been implicated.
The thing I can't. This is something I cannot work out. And Geoff, if you know, can you fill me in? Because this is me just being completely like just thinking here, right? So she signed an NDA, yeah.
Yeah.
And part of the lawsuit is contesting the NDA, like saying to drop it so that this lawsuit can go on. Is it by doing this?
Well, Vince allegedly broke the NDA by not paying her the appropriate sum of money. Now, this is not the first time Vince has not paid people. He didn't pay the territories when he took over. He hasn't paid, he's left wrestlers high and dry on deals and agreements. Allegedly. So, allegedly. This is not without precedent. So, I get the feeling that there's probably Yeah.
You definitely
he
can tell
broke
that
the NDA by not allegedly
he paid
not paying her.
only $1 million of the $3 million apparently, allegedly.
But again, he allegedly groomed a woman who is in shock because her parents had both passed, and he, used her allegedly for sex trafficking, allegedly, which is not a good look. So
No, it's not. I do want to say though that I would not mind seeing the other half of those text messages. Like those text messages from him are damning. They are damning. The shots that they put up are damning.
Yeah.
You don't see the other half of that conversation though. Do you know what I mean? And this is not me at all saying, pardon?
No. I know. I got to be honest. If that was me receiving those text messages, I'd probably be pretty quiet.
Yeah,
I can't see myself.
But obviously, like she must have responded in some way, shape, or form because the thing just kept going on. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I know. Again, what he's done is completely wrong. If he's actually done these things, completely wrong, and has completely tainted. Like it's almost to the level now of the WWE will probably have to Benoit him.
Oh, they already have.
Yeah, well, he's been removed and like, you know what I mean? They will probably have to, like, you won't see descriptions on like the videos anymore.
By the way, I should have put this at the beginning. If this is hurting anyone, there's a trigger warning on this conversation. Obviously, there has to be a trigger warning on this conversation. But if you need help, reach out to the men's helpline. Reach out to Beyond Blue, reach out to heaps and heaps of organizations that can help you for mental health, because this is triggering. There's no denying this is triggering by its very nature. And I apologize for not saying that at the beginning of this conversation, but we just went into it. I think that they have to Benoit him. They have no choice. Even if on the off chance the civil suit fails, they have no choice, because there was a woman at a tanning salon in the 80s or 90s or early 2006, who mysteriously 1-800-RESPECT. Thank you, Andy PWDU, just putting out 1-800-RESPECT. If you're in a domestic violence situation, please get some help. But there was a woman at a tanning salon in 2006 who accused Vince of being inappropriate towards her, and mysteriously enough, that disappeared. There was a referee in the 80s whose name was Rita Chatterton, who Vince approached inappropriately, who mysteriously got no more bookings and was blackballed from wrestling and disappeared. This young lady is not disappearing, and good on her. She's being brave. She's being brave and amazing, and I admire that.
Yeah. But also, the thing also is that, like, I'm already vinced out on this story, because we're not going to hear anything, not for a long time yet. Because
here's the thing about it. There's two or three things. One is he's closely allied with the most recent president of the United States, the previous one. So that is one thing. The other thing is that it's salacious. It's gossip. It's a perfect amount of news gossip. And once and if it goes to deposition in court, we're not going to hear about anything but for weeks.
Yeah.
Especially in the wrestling media. Because the wrestling media doesn't like salacious shit. Oh, no. Not at all.
No. Not at all.
No.
No. But that I think that's my thing at the moment. I just don't want to listen to it. I don't want to hear it, because not until they go to court. When they go to court, that's when I want to hear it, because that's when I'll actually find out some stuff. And if they go to court, unless somehow like TKO and Vince and John Laurinaitis settle, and I don't know what type of money it would take for them to do it. Like at this point in time, you have a look at that recent case now with Donald Trump. He just got, what was it, 89 million?
Yeah, around that mark. It was a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So I would be very interested to know. Like I hope for just like clarity's sake that there's no settlement and this thing goes to trial, so it actually gets cleared. Look, Andy says the wrestling media embarrassed themselves at that press conference. Why, Andy? Can you ask me why? Can you answer me why you think that they embarrassed themselves? And we'll keep talking while you're typing.
Because then we move on to another matter, which was Triple H and Cody Rhodes both at the WWE post Royal Rumble press conference. Both spoke about this. Did not particularly shy away from it, but I think that considering that they run a public company, they have to be very, very, very careful about what's said. Specifically,
Exactly.
Triple H has to be really, really careful. He cannot get too in the weeds with this. He also has to put a bright face on it. So he has to say he wants to focus on the positives. Of course, in the back of his mind is going, this is whatever's gone on, allegedly, is terrible, allegedly. And I need to get through this conference without like digging it further, whatever happened, allegedly. So
do you know what? All he had to do is just repeat the media release that TKO put out. That's all he really had to do. He handled it, I think, terribly.
I don't think he handled it well.
No.
And he knew the question was coming, but I also think that I'm going to say this as someone who works in that area as a day job, which a lot of people don't know. I do some crisis comms for organizations. Whoever is WWE's crisis comms person should be fired immediately. Should be absolutely fired. Andy said, "Are we comparing the product of to the Attitude Era in the context of the Vince news and Triple H wanting to focus on positives?" Andy, he's got no choice. He's got no choice. He's got TKO sitting there.
Yeah. What would you like? Like, I think, he should have had a prepared statement. He should have just honestly repeated the exact statement that TKO said. And look, and unfortunately, guys, that is all I can say on the matter. That's all I'm legally allowed to say on the matter.
Yep. Cody spoke quite well.
I think Cody's was better than what Trips was. Cody
was closer to nailing the media release, but then you consider what Cody's come from. That's not a place without controversy, so he's probably quite used. He was probably rehearsing for this, if you like.
Yeah.
Come
in.
I agree that
I'll teach you how to do this.
I think Trips could have handled it better, but I think he's also got TKO executives breathing down his neck saying, handle this. And when you do, you talk to your crisis comms person, and the crisis comms person dropped the ball completely. You don't just say focus on the positives. You say, look, it's a legal matter. We can't say a lot at this time. You know, we understand it's upset a lot of people, blah, blah, blah. And Cody was. Tim's just said Cody was an artful dodge. And yes, it was. Yeah, but it shows you how smart a guy Cody Rhodes is.
Yeah, it was. And like, I understand the whole like bagging on Triple H for like focus on the positives. But the fact is he can't talk about anything else. So let's just focus on something I can actually talk about. Like, I'm happy to keep saying the same answer to you repeatedly, but you can ask me that question in 1,000 different ways. I can still only give you the same answer, unfortunately.
Andy said you asked me about how media embarrassed themselves. He thinks it was the softball question asking about how amazing the product is. Andy, there's two things that go on in a media conference that a lot of people aren't aware of. One is media are given questions to ask. You have to ask these questions. So
no, they're not.
Almost certainly.
Like,
oh, really?
No. A lot of the journalists came out and have said, I was never told I was not allowed to ask this. I was allowed to ask any question I can. Like, I'm never told that in the WWE things. Like, I'm like, and I know people are bagging on the girl that the first question she asked was about the Netflix deal. Now, maybe she has trauma where she didn't want to like talk about that at the like. There's a lot of things that you don't know about that girl.
We also have to accept two things here, right? We have to accept two things before we lambast anyone. This is an incredibly upsetting matter. True, false, otherwise. This is upsetting. This is very distressing. As somebody who has experienced sexual abuse in their lives, I can tell you I'm really, really triggered by a lot of this. Okay? Just a fact. Saying that, the media have to tread carefully on this, because right now the key word in all of this is allegedly. The media cannot go in there and go, what about what Vince did? Because it's a court case.
Yeah.
Secondly, it is a legal matter. There is legal matters go in front of a court of law, and if too much is said in a media context, they can ruin the case. I dare say no one wants the case ruined if it's true.
Personally, I think the questions that were asked about the situation were well asked and very the proper way of asking those questions, properly asked. And I think Hunter gave really the only sort of answers he could give under the situation. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in this situation, he can't turn around and say too much because A, he can't implement himself, and B, if he is implicated, and we can't be sure, we don't know anything about that, and B, he is a guy who is a figurehead of a company that is in recovery mode. It is,
and also the fact, he's not a member of the board. He's not in, he literally is head of creative, and that is his job. He doesn't have the same positions he used to have. So he can't really go out there and say this is what we're doing, because he's not in that role anymore. He's not a member of the board. He's not a COO or whatever it was before. He's not that anymore.
Andy said, I think we get that he can't say much. But you can't get up and say, I'm focused on the positive. You have to give more than that. No, you don't. You absolutely do not.
You can do it if you're not worried about being sued. He's worried about the suit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you're I know, Andy, you're sort of damn the torpedoes. I'm just going to answer the question and say, I can't believe that Vince did this. This is blah, blah, blah. We can't believe this is happening here. He can't do any of that, even if underneath he is thinking that. Even if he's thinking, I can't believe this fucking guy has done this to a company that everybody has put their hard-earned sweat, blood, and tears in it for the last God knows how many years, and he has thrown this all away by being irresponsible. He can't do that as much as he might want to.
Yeah,
because it's a legal matter. Anything that he says could potentially add 3 zeros to a number.
Yeah.
Because
and not only that,
at the end of the day, sorry, Geoff, at the end of the day, Vince isn't going to jail over this just right now. Because this is just a civil case. He could get found guilty of it, and he's still not going to jail. It's the same as former President Donald Trump. He was found guilty in a civil case of rape. He is not in jail. He has not served any time at all. He has faced no punishments for that, except for being fined $89 million or whatever it was.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Paul Levesque is almost certainly going to be summoned to appear in court over this matter. It's immoral. Paul Levesque needs to very, very carefully watch what he says. So saying we're going to focus on the positive, that's his statement. Andy, I've done. You can't leave. No.
But TKO have already done that release, Andy.
TKO have already said
for the people listening at home, Andy has written. I've done Crisis of Comms as well. You can't leave people with nothing. I don't expect statements that strong at all. I do expect something along the lines of, we're horrified by the allegations. TKO are investigating them. Obviously, this is an ongoing legal matter. We can't say much. They already did that. TKO
that's already in a media release that went out within 24 hours. That's already in a media release.
Repeating that, because that's what it would have been.
Yeah. That's in a media release. It's almost like, yep, we've heard that. Move on. The media probably would have been furious at hearing that, rather than I want to focus on the positives. We just had a great show. Let's focus on the show. And they were furious. Yeah, we agree with you. Andy's just said, yep, that's all he had to repeat was the TKO statement. Yes, we did say that. We said that earlier, but please bear in mind, whoever gave him that line was probably out of line, but he's still got to be really careful. He's still got to tread really, really carefully. Anyway, shall we move on from there? I think I find this both triggering and depressing.
I just want to so you know, Danny, in case you didn't know, TKO released this statement. Okay, Mr. McMahon does not control TKO, nor does he oversee day-to-day operations of WWE. While this matter predates our TKO executive team's tenure at the company, we take Ms. Grant's horrific allegations very seriously and are addressing the matter internally. And by that time he actually resigned as well. So by the time of the Rumble, he resigned.
And that was circulated to all media. So all media had already heard that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they were just like, they had to keep asking the question because in case he says something, they had to try and make him slip up. That's kind of the press's job.
Yep. He didn't, and it was clear he wasn't going to, so they moved on. Anyway, there's a piece of news that we didn't cover. Punk's out for 3 to 4 months with a tricep injury. Todd, your thoughts on good old Pepsi Phil?
Just unlucky, really. Like
it is a bit, isn't it? I felt sorry for him and Rollins because they were going to have a banger at Mania.
Yeah. Look, there are times where people just go through these things where they pick up injury out. Like, remember Bryan Danielson for a while there was doing that? He'd come back and get injured in the first couple of things, and then he'd be gone again for about 6 or 7 months and then come back. And, like, I hope that's what it is. And sort of like he'll come back and finally be okay and be able to do a bit of a run. Because the way they left it on Raw this week with Drew sets up for a beautiful story when he comes back.
Oh, yeah.
That was such a good promo from Drew. That was so good. I wish that this had happened. I'm so happy it's happened. That's so good.
So, and he's getting pops by being so good at being an asshole. It's great to see. So I've got a question for you.
That too was also probably Punk's best promo too.
Yeah. So I've got a question for you. What do you do now? So you've got Cody. I still think Cody's going to go Roman. I don't think he's going to go Seth. I think it's going to be Roman because that finishes the story that was started last year. What do you do with Seth? Who does Seth face? Because Seth is clearly going to try and work through to Mania.
Yeah. Look, I've got to be honest. I did not hate the case that Seth put forward on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
I like the whole, that's the Hollywood belt. Do you really want that belt, or do you want the working man's belt? Do you want the Dusty Rhodes title, the title that you fight for? Because let's face it, really, if they had it, and if they really want to, they've got the means. They can do Rock Roman this year.
Of course they can. Of course they can. Okay, so
they've got that in their back pocket.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Absolutely, they do. I don't like how they got there.
No, the crowd there weren't exactly happy with the idea of Cody going with Seth. So it depends on what WWE want to do. If they want to read the room and go, look, they want Roman and Cody, we kind of have to give them Roman and Cody.
I think.
And then what do you do with Seth? That's the $1 million question.
I think, and Andy's just said this, I think it's going to be Gunther. I think it's going to be Gunther and Seth title for title. And Gunther's going to...
I hate that for the mere fact that they've put so much into that Intercontinental title that to have it just go in, even if Gunther wins the thing and becomes the double champion, they'll just take that other title off him and then start a tournament. So that reigns really for naught. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think that was planned. I don't think it was planned until Seth got injured, and then they might have to drive into it. I think other names that could reasonably be be that is Drew. Drew could easily step into that spot, and it would be a great match.
I did hear something like that today, and then the idea behind it was like Drew can just keep going to Punk. I got what you wanted.
Yeah,
I did what you couldn't do.
Or Seth and Priest, which I think would be great as well. Priest has the money in the bank. He can start saying he wants to cash it in at Mania. Start beating Seth up.
The problem with all of these storylines, right, is that the people that we're mentioning have all got other titles.
Yeah.
Like Gunther, Intercontinental title.
Priest is a tag champ, isn't he?
He's tag champions. Yeah. Like, they're all tied up in stuff. They're all tied up in potential matches anyway.
I mean, look, you could do a lot worse than put the debuting Okada in there. You know, if Okada's going to debut, you got Okada against Seth, which is like, that's a dream match on anyone's. If Okada's going to WWE, that's a dream match by anyone's imagination. You know, it's not a stretch to want to see Okada against Seth.
Jesus. And the biggest problem is too, it's not like they can go, shit, we need to get Gunther into this thing. Let's just have him drop the belt at Elimination Chamber, because he can't be there.
He can't be there.
So, and I think they've earmarked, they're already sort of telling a backstory at the moment of Jay for Gunther.
They are definitely leaning towards Jay for Gunther, which will be wonderful. Look, they're in an interesting quandary, but if anyone can pull them out of it, it's the way Trips tells stories. Like, he's getting really, really good. I mean, you look at credible faces right now. There used to be 1 to 2 credible faces years ago. There's only 1 or 2, but look now. There's faces everywhere. That company's full of faces. And I'm including Rhea Ripley in that. She's one of the top faces of the company. And she's got her Hogan Andre moment in Perth, which is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
So
also, like, because obviously Lesnar's not showing up now. Lesnar was earmarked for Gunther, but then I'm also hearing Bron Breakker might slide into that spot.
That would be so good. How much of a star was he on Sunday? Like, he was one of the highlights. Absolutely.
He was doing what Lesnar was supposed to be doing on that show, apparently.
Yep. And sudden, like, for a guy that big to be that quick, wow. Just great. Alex Firehart, Priest generally cashes in the same way Seth did to take a title off him. Would be kind of poetic, no matter who Seth faces, really. Good point. Yeah, do the 31 run in. Yeah, that'd be fun. Well, let's move on. I mean, I think we're going to see how this unfolds in weeks and months to come. If you want to hear how it unfolds, always subscribe to Wrestle Radio Australia wherever you get your podcast from. Stitcher, Amazon, bunch of other shit. You know, where you're listening.
You were doing so well. You were doing so well.
I know. I don't have all the names. Where's Lachlan when we need him?
I was halfway through praising you. Already, like, mate, I tell you, you're doing well. We might have to give Lachlan a call, tell him not to worry anymore. But nah, look what you went and did to me.
I did that on purpose, so Lachlan's still got a job.
Okay.
Don't worry, Lachlan, mate. Of course, we've had some shake-ups with WWE commentary teams, with Jimmy getting fired. It's now McAfee and Cole on Raw. I don't think I hate that. I think that could be a lot of fun. But I don't like this. Barrett and Graves on SmackDown, with Graves doing play-by-play. Yeah, I'm not convinced that's a good idea. I don't think Corey Graves is naturally a play-by-play guy. I'm willing to see where it goes.
Yeah, the thing I heard today is that, like, he was taking up a lot of the slack from Kevin Patrick on Raw.
Right.
That's why they thought, let's give him a try and play-by-play on that. McAfee is there with Cole, and that is pretty much going to be a permanent thing, because it's believed they don't think McAfee will be back on College Game Day next season with ESPN. So he's got the slate's clear now. So it's not just like everyone thought, where he'd just be gone for the college season, then he'll be back and blah, blah, blah. Apparently they don't think he'll be back for next year's college.
Speaking of other sports, listen to Kevin Egan commentate football or soccer. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. He just didn't find his stride at WWE. I personally think they should have put him back as an interviewer, because he was really, really good. But, there you go. Also, of note are the AEW rankings that have recently come out. Of course, our champions, Samoa Joe, Christian Cage, Orange Cassidy, and the Mad King, Eddie Kingston. The contenders, number 1, Swerve. No surprise there. Second, Hangman Adam Page. Third, Adam Copeland. Fourth, John Moxley. And fifth, Roddy Strong. Bit surprised by Roddy Strong, to be honest. But there you go.
You know what I find funny? They put up 4 titleists and then 5 contenders.
Yeah. The women's champions, of course, Timeless Tony Storm, tits out, darling. Julia Hart, Deonna Purrazzo, Thunder Rosa, Hikaru Shida, Sky Blue, and Mariah May. Tag champs, Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Contenders, number 1, Sting and Darby Allin, John Silver and Alex Reynolds, Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli, Private Party, and Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta. The fuck? And the trios champions, the Acclaimed and Sesame Daddy Ass, Bullet Club Gold, the contenders, Hardys and Briscoe, the Dark Order, FTR and Daniel Garcia, and the House of Black. What do you think of those, Todd?
Yeah, here's the thing, right? Because I saw them, and one thing really stuck out to me, and then I did an old Tony Khan's best friend search. I did a cage match. Now, John Silver and Alex Reynolds are the number 2 contenders for the tag titles. Like, you notice FTR are nowhere in that, by the way, just quietly.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so I cage matched John Silver and Alex Reynolds, right? They've won 3 matches this year, and they were all dark matches. Mm-hmm. One was against the Brick City Boys, and the other 2 were against Colt Cabana and what's his name? The guy that is the other guy. It's Buck's best friend.
Oh, Brandon Cutler.
There you go. Yeah, Cabana and Cutler. They were the 2 ones they were the 2 matches that they won. And spoilers for anyone who's watching, who still watches Rampage. I'll give you a second to go ahead 5 seconds right now. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They also lose a match on Raw and Rampage this week against Ricky Starks and Big Bill. So they've only had 3 dark matches, which they won. They won the 3 dark matches, and they've lost their only televised match, and they're the number 2 contenders for the title. This is where I said to you last week that this ranking thing is going to be so very hard. And you do notice that the one thing that they haven't done here is put the stats up.
No, they haven't.
They've got the names, none of the win-loss records.
So here's a question. In your opinion, is Sting going to retire as a tag champ? Because they've got Big Bill and
they've
Ricky
got him next week on Dynamite, haven't they, for the tags?
Yeah, one of Sting's last matches. Yeah. Is he going to retire as a tag? Are they going to win the belts? And is he going to retire as a tag champ?
I heard something today. I keep saying this. I heard something today, which made a lot of sense. Was that the Young Bucks tried to get Darby Allin into their group today on Raw and Dynamite. They're like, come and join us. Sting's a blood-sucking vampire. We're young stars, just like you. You should join us. And then Darby's turned him down. Of course he did. And so they said, well, to each other, apparently they said something like, well, it looks like we have to find some other way to get him interested. Now, if they use their powers as EVPs to get themselves a tag title match, win those tag championships, and then say to Sting and Darby Allin, if you want these things, you can have them at Revolution against us. And maybe they win in their last match.
I think so. I think Sting's going out a champion, as he deserves.
Either that or the Bucks interfere in this tag match to cause Sting and Darby to want to fight them at Revolution, no time on the line.
Yep. All right. Let's move on. The name of the show is Chicken Shit. That's what we talk about. We talk about things that give us the irrits. How about we don't do Vince because we've kind of covered that to death, and it's really obvious that it's a chicken shit. It's actually not even chicken shit; it's beyond that. Allegedly,
Vince is a worldwide chicken shit.
Yeah, Vince's chicken shit is ultimate. Anyway, what else is giving you the ears this week?
Might have to rename this fucking episode allegedly.
Allegedly, we'll need to rename it. Allegedly.
Gee, there's a couple of things. I'll do Lachlan's for him because he's not here to do it. And there was one where like, yeah. I'll read it because I don't want to. Heaven forbid I'll misquote him. Oh, God, he messaged a lot, didn't he?
He did. He went off on a tirade, I think.
He did. He's such an angry young man. Or did he message me on the side? I can't find it.
Dean
Anyway,
Draven?
it's about
Dean Draven.
Yes, that's the one. Do you want to read it if you found it? Because I can't find it.
It just says my secondary chicken shit after
there you go.
Dean Draven.
Yeah. Okay. Dean Draven is a wrestler in New South Wales, Geoff.
Yep.
Who wrestles incredibly like Chris Benoit.
Oh.
Like that's his whole gimmick is pretty much that, like that. But he did this thing where I'm going to get onto that one, Andy. Don't worry about it. He did this thing where he copyrighted the name Draven and then sent cease and desist letters to every wrestler in Australia with the name Draven, telling them that they had to cease and desist using that name.
You what?
Yeah. So, and look, no offense to the guy, but if there's a trajectory of careers, his is on the downslope of it. Like he's in the. Do you know what his nickname is in the show? On shows, the Pantherine. Because you can't be the Wolverine, so let's just be the Pantherine.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just look. Nobody's making fucking thousands of dollars here in wrestling, in Australian wrestling.
No.
Let the kids be fucking Draven. Believe me, it's hurting them worse than it's hurting you, having their names associated with you. I'm just going out on a limb right there because, like, I don't get it. Like, could you imagine if I copyrighted the name Eastman, and then if I saw anyone that had that name, just go, you need to cease and desist doing that. That's affecting my career.
Yeah,
it's just that to me is chicken shit. Literally chicken. That's chicken shit, man. Like seriously, let the kid call himself Draven. It's not hurting you. You don't cross over.
Yeah, it doesn't. You're not going to lose any money because someone else is called Draven.
No.
Look how many people are in the Eagles family.
Yeah.
And it's not like Robbie or Madison could go, no, that's me. But no, they're all in the Eagles family in Australian wrestling, and we love them all.
How many people are Andersons in America?
Oh, God, yeah.
And none of them are actual Andersons.
No. Oh, I think Gene was.
Yeah, Gene. I think Gene was. I think maybe even Oli.
Yeah. No, he's Krapinski or something.
Oh, okay.
Alan Krapinski. He's got a Polish sounding name.
Yes.
But
Arm's not.
Marty Lund.
Neither is fucking what's his name in the Bullet Club. He was in New Japan wrestler, worker, Bullet Club, OJ, the OC, not Chad, that's his real name. Carl Anderson.
Carl Anderson, right.
Machine Gun, Carl Anderson. No, he's not an Anderson.
Yeah. CW Anderson's not an Anderson. Look,
not an Anderson.
And no one would dream of going, oh, I need to, I need to copyright that name. That's just,
Yeah. I just think that's chicken shit.
And you said you had another one?
Yes, there's a former referee in PWA called Nick, Referee Nick. Now, Referee Nick went on a burner, and for some unknown reason, just decided to just go Jake Andrew Arthur, who is one of the nicest people in the world.
Jake is
and
lovely.
A very decent wrestler too. As much as this guy went on a tirade on him saying wrestlers in the back talk shit about you, saying you're the shits and blah, blah, blah. And Jake handled this as well as anyone could handle it. He was completely above board and he's like, yeah, I don't care, mate. You can call me shit all you want. Then if you go on this guy's burner, you will see like he definitely did not leave Australian wrestling on the best terms and definitely has a thing for it. And especially for Melbourne wrestling for some reason, which is really weird because he's a Sydney-based worker.
Yeah.
And then when he got somebody doxed him and found out that it was him, and then it got out that that's who he was. And then he went on this whole kick about him having mental health issues. And because people were giving him shit, that was blah, blah, blah. And I take but he was doing, because he takes he was saying he was taking meds because of some reason that he was like bullied or some shit like that, but then started doing that online to other people. But that apparently is okay. I don't get that. And one thing that is my pet peeve is that people that use mental health as a shield from criticism. I cannot stand that, especially when the ones that there are people with genuine mental health issues, and maybe this guy does, but if just because you have a mental health issue doesn't mean you get away with being a dick to everyone else.
Also, I'm going to say this. I know Jake quite well. Like Jake, pulling the curtain back a little bit, but Jake shot upstairs during the second half of the show and said hi, and we had a lovely catch up and a chat. I've seen him at my local shopping centre with his children, and we always stop and say hi and have a great smile. Jake is considering his size and considering the fact that he came to wrestling quite late, he's really good. You want to see a good match?
He is a legitimate bronze medalist, Commonwealth Games bronze medalist, judo player.
Yeah. I don't compliment them very often, and I think it was their first or second show. DMDU put UG against Jake in the ring, and it was an absolute banger. It's an absolutely wonderful match. That's all. That's the only nice thing I'll say about it, about that company. But there you go. Mental health is nothing to be made frivolous. So Nick, please look after yourself. But please also remember that what you do today affects others tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
and that's that's what got me more than anything else. Like, don't use that as a protection when you don't care about other people's.
Okay. My
go on. I have another one, but I'll wait for yours because.
Oh no! You do yours. You do yours. While I put mine together, you do yours. While I put the right way to say this together.
Yeah. There was remember last week we talked about the whole thing with FWA.
Yes.
And the promoting and all that sort of stuff. Like, they've come out this week and just started promoting not one, not two, but 3 shows coming up in May and June. So and this is, I know that he might be a nice guy and all of this sort of stuff, and I get all of that. But if you can't get one show off the ground, which is apparently a really hard thing for him to do, stop trying to do not just, and like the first 2 shows are something like the 25th and 26th of May. First one on the 25th is in Sydney, and then the second one in 26th is in Melbourne. So not only does he want to pull off 2 shows in a weekend, he wants to do them in different states. And again, I'm not telling anyone to boycott. Straight up, I'm not telling anyone to boycott. If you want to be on those shows, go your hardest. I'm telling you to ask for a deposit. Ask for a deposit. And if you are having to travel to get to these shows, ask for your trans. Because the chances of this thing not getting off the fucking ground are more than 60%. Like I'm going very conservative when I say that. Because show after show has been cancelled from this guy, and then he wants to come out and try and book 3 of them in the space of like, because I think one's in that, and then the 2 are in May, and then one's in June. So just be careful, and that's all I'm saying to the workers. Be careful. Just because I could say I'm going to put on a show next week, and then not do it, but I wouldn't go ahead and go, okay, we'll try next week. We'll try next week. We'll try next week. Okay, I couldn't get those 4 shows off the ground, but hey, guess what? I'm going to do a show in Brisbane this weekend, and then on the Friday night, and then on Saturday night, I'm going to do one in Melbourne with Geoff. You want to come to those? Thanks.
No.
Awesome. You can get yourself there? No. Sick. Yeah, just be careful for workers out there. And I know you want the opportunity to maybe get people to see you and all of that stuff, and wrestling interstate is probably pretty cool. It's a cool idea. It's a cool chance to have. Just don't do it at your own detriment. And if you're doing it, be aware that you could lose your money for that because of how reliable this thing seems to be at the moment. And that's all. And I'm done now, Geoff. Sorry.
Thank you. No, thank you. I got a couple. Firstly, I'm really quite upset that Kevin Patrick got given the ass, just because I know that gave him time and like he wasn't great at commentary. He was very kind of bland. But I would really, really like I would have really liked him to go back to interviewing. You know, it's kind of a shame that he didn't and he wasn't given the opportunity to, because he was a great interviewer. Like he had a presence about it. Remember that Mean Gene was also not a great color commentator, but the guy as an interviewer is probably the best. I'm
but
also
Gene
not.
Gene with Lord Alfred were really good.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, under the right circumstances, Gene and Alfred were pretty good together.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
This is from someone who's watched way too many Coliseum home videos.
I'm also. I know they're doing the Adam Copeland Open Challenge thing.
The Cope Open?
It reeks of being exactly the same as Cody Rhodes Open Challenge a couple of years ago. And that's fine. AEW seemed to just be on a treadmill of repeating the same shit over and over and over. There are 2 bright spots in amongst all of this that actually are my chicken salad. But yeah, I just think that they need to find another creative direction sometimes. And Copeland's great. It's nothing against Adam Copeland as a wrestler. And he clearly wants to give back to younger talent. And look how Cody's turned out. I mean, we wound up with Swerve Strickland. We wound up with Kingston on the roster. But
yes, exactly.
It would be nice. It would be.
Also, too, the biggest story in AEW for the last 4 or 5 months was this whole who the devil is. And now that they've been revealed, they've lost every bit of momentum that they have. Like, they're just a normal team now. There's nothing dangerous about them. There's nothing really... Do you know what I mean? Like, I was thinking about it this week. I'm like, there's just nothing that stands out. It looked like bloody Wardlow injured himself today on Dynamite. I hope it's not anything bad. But
one ugly powerbomb.
Yeah. But it was done before. He got injured on the Phoenix Splash.
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Do you remember when the Judgment Day were running roughshod and they showed up on Raw and they just ripped the tables apart and they stood on the announce desk and Sammy was being a cocky heel, and it was like the 3rd week that Australia had Raw on binge, and it was riveting. That's what I expected from the Unfocused Kingdom. But ultimately, unfocused seems to be the right thing to say. It's a shame.
Yeah, and I cannot stand the fact that Roderick Strong is still doing that yelling thing.
Yeah.
at the start of this.
It's
He
a bit
should
too
just dump it completely. I know he wants to sell T-shirts and all that, and that's cool, but he should have just dumped it completely. They should have just went to being super serious, kick-ass heels.
I agree.
And they should have just there was no way 4 or 5 months ago, if they were in a promo spot against Orange Cassidy and the best friends, that they wouldn't have attacked them and beat them up in that promo spot.
No.
Instead of going back and forth and talking to them. It's just, that disappoints me when I think about that.
It is quite disappointing. So we've talked about what we haven't liked. What do you like? What's good, Todd?
Mine's a personal note. I get to go back to wrestling this weekend from a Christmas break. So it's been since like November, I think, maybe December.
Yeah.
Oh no, I did. Did I go back? I've already been back. I went back to. I forgot. I went back to UPW, which was my first time there, which was fun. But this is like my first time going back to like my thing. The thing that my baby. So I'm really excited for that.
Anything else, or is that the main one you want?
Look, I'll be honest with you. Because I saw someone in the chat saying that they weren't all that hyped about the World Series Wrestling announcements. I got to kind of disagree. I kind of like it's really going to be really cool seeing Nick Nemeth, and today they announced that it's now I've completely blanked on his name, and I dig him because he's like one of my favorite independent workers. Hammerstone, thank you, Lachlan.
Hammerstone, yeah.
Got named today for World Series Wrestling. Love that guy.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to see him work. I know that you're going to see your regulars, that it's Brian Cage. And Brian Cage is going to be on every tour because that's just like Brian Cage is basically World Series Wrestling now. Like, just get used to that, guys.
It was Austin Aries until the crowd just stopped caring. Like, absolutely stopped caring. Anything else, or should I?
No, just like seeing that, like, because we're going to see banger matches between Nick Nemeth and Cardona.
Oh yeah,
there's going to be some great matches for those two going around the horn. That's going to be awesome to see.
Yeah.
I want to see what tag teams that they bring out because you get to see the Pariah and hopefully some other local guys around the thing work these international tag teams like they had ABC last time, which was supposed to be originally the Motor City Machine Guns, but became ABC, I think it was in the end of the day. But yeah, I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of excited for it. I love Hammerstone, love his work, always have. MLW, I cannot believe he hadn't been picked up before. I don't know how possible it is because I don't know what his like visa issues are because I know he spent some time away. But if they could have get someone like a Jacob Fatu as well, because I watched him. If we want another chicken salad, I watched a GCW show on the weekend that had Zilla and Jacob Fatu working a tag team match. Man, Zilla's the real deal. It's only going to be one of two ways with him. He's either going to like take over the world or be that guy that we talk about on podcasts going, remember that guy? Oh, whatever happened to him? He had such opportunity to be something huge. I wonder what happened to that guy. That's what Zilla has to me. Like, got to get some gear because he wrestles in jeans and sneakers at the moment. He's got to get some gear. But aside from that, the dude has so much upside to him.
Okay. Should I say what I like?
Go on, my friend. Sorry, I dominated.
There are two things. No. There are two things that I like, and they're both interconnected. And you know how I said earlier that AEW need to get off the cycle of the same stories. There are two people that have gotten off that cycle, and one is Daddy Christian Cage. Christian Cage is doing the work of his career. He is hilarious. He's next level heel. So much fun to watch. I'm not a huge on all of his family, but somehow he's making it work. You know what I mean? Like, people are just buying in on it. He's great. He's great.
I don't know if you picked it up or if you saw it online, but they fucked up with him the other week after a Copeland match. There was like a Copeland match, right? and it cut back to Christian looking on, like watching on TV. But they just used a Christian watching on TV from a couple of months ago. They just recycled it and put it up again like he was watching it live again. I was like, oh, come on, guys. You can't get the guy to just look at the TV for a second.
That's pretty lame.
But no, you're right.
But
like, he's doing amazing work.
He is so incredibly entertaining. And the other one
I'm not
today...
exactly thrilled about like what they're doing with Nick Wayne, because I think he's got a lot more potential than what they're using him in at the moment. But
I think
and Mama Wayne is giving very Karen Jarrett vibes to me at the moment.
Yes, she is. I think they've got him there because, you know, he's so young. So that's probably why. But the other one, today there was a match between Taya Valkyrie and Deonna Purrazzo, and they had Tony as the guest commentator, and she spent the whole match just popping the commentary team. They almost couldn't keep going. They were laughing so hard about Taya Valkyrie. She goes, I tell her to take her tits out, darling, but it appears to be too late. It's just, and then she started calling one of them Wendy Richter. It just got funnier and funnier and funnier. I will say there was it last week where she thought Ian Riccaboni was Tony. Tony, yeah.
And she's like, you look amazing. You've shaved the beard. You've lost some weight. You really started. I was really starting to worry about you. You're looking really good now. And then apparently, because I haven't actually gone up to that part yet, apparently this week, because Tony's back, she's like, what happened to you? You were doing so well. Something like that.
She's nailing the character. It's the only thing that
she's really pushing the edge of where she could get in trouble soon with something she says. Because didn't she get knocked off her seat and someone said, somebody pissed on my seat? There's piss on my seat.
There's piss on my seat.
Oof. Like eventually they're going to go, look, that was cool. But just you still have senses.
Yeah, while I agree with you, look, she's clearly having the time of her life, and well done, Tony, for finding a gimmick that is so fun. I don't think she's actually getting booed. I think she's now well and truly into tweener, if not face territory, which is it's a difficult situation to be in for the company. But boy, is she entertainment! Like, she is absolute entertainment, and so wonderful in this role. The Butler is funny. Look, I'm loving it. I'm all in.
Who ever thought you would find a way for Luther to be entertaining? But look what they've went and done.
On Timeless Tony, I think that there's a coolness about it, and it's great to see. And it's wonderful, also because she's an Australian. So it's kind of, we've got that little bit of ownership as well.
I will say, because we give AEW production a lot of shit. They do a really good job with Tony. The black and white.
Oh God.
Especially when they did the face-to-face thing with her, Renee, and Deonna. And half of the screen was the black and white with the scratches, and the other half was just normal. I was like, that's really good. And it takes a lot of work to be able to do that and to balance it out. So when the camera cuts, it cuts to the black and white, then it cuts back to the color, then it cuts to the two screen. I'm doing this because that's basically what they do in the truck. They're like, camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. You know what I mean? That's what to be able to dinner and not really, like, I didn't really see it at a time when they screwed it up at all. That's really, really good. I'll give them a punch when they do stuff that's wrong. I got to give them a pat in the back when they do stuff that's right. They're doing some really, really good stuff with that.
I'm not thrilled about the Mariah May partnership. I think it's all been done before. We've seen it so many times, but everything else she's doing, just golden, just so good.
Do you know what I don't like with the Mariah May stuff? Is that she's playing like a simp on TV, right? But they sort of blend all of that stuff in with their social medias and all that. But on social media, she's very much just normal Mariah May, like teasing simps and all of this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But like, it's a disconnect for people that are, because let's face it, AEW fans are Twitter followers. The Twitter fan base is the AEW fan base, basically.
I would pretty much concur with you there. I would pretty much concur with you. I think that's about it. I think if you want to join us, we're usually doing this on Thursday nights at about 8:30, 8:40, whenever we get to it. Thank you to everybody who joined us in the chat. Alex Firehart, Tim Wilkes, Andy PWDU coming along and joining us as well. Next week, we're going to have a look at...
Sorry, mate, before you wrap it up, throw to your ad for WrestleBrania, mate, because I'll play the video for you.
Oh. We, as in WrestleBrania, and Tim Wilkes is going to be there, and Lachlan's going to be there, having a huge show in Perth with a great cast who you'll see now. But we haven't named a special guest referee. You'll find that out really, really soon. Oh, and Slam sold out their Royal Rumble show this weekend. It's live on YouTube Saturday night. If you're not doing anything else, that is excellent. Slam are hot right now. Hot. Had a great show in December.
Here's the ad. Shut up. Here's the ad. Here's the ad. Let me play the ad. Let me sell your tickets here.
Finally, WrestleBrania has come back to Perth. WrestleBrania and EPW present the Perfect Elimination Chamber pre-show with host and general manager Geoff Setti.
Let's get ready to Brania! The series has come and gone. There's that one moment, the one big moment, the big return, the return everyone's talking about. Our truth is back.
Heel Captain Welchie.
I've got a question for the face team. Was there a 2-for-1 sale at Lowe's?
Babyface Captain Alan Aldworth.
No deal. Android page. It's dangerous.
Davis Storm. Comedian Rosavad.
It's great. The Aspirationalist apparently shops at Miller's.
Dirty Harry Hills.
How are you, Harry?
I think if we lost this, it'd kill me.
Comedian Luke Boland.
I took on 10 men and had my hand raised as the reigning hardcore champion.
Jesse Lambert. Damian Slater.
It's a series of games about wrestling.
WrestleBrania, the world's only wrestling comedy game show. Suck good shit. WrestleBrania will finish with plenty of time to get to the stadium for Elimination Chamber. Live at Linnet's Lounge. Tickets on sale now through OzTix.
And just a quick note. Firstly, thank you for playing that, Todd. Really appreciate that. Secondly, if anyone is worried that we're going to make jokes about the events of the last week, that will absolutely not be happening. It's just not going to happen. So please don't worry. Please come along. As the video says, you'll have heaps of time to get to the stadium. Come. Tickets are moving quickly though. So if you're on the fence, you want to get them sooner rather than later because there's going to be a lot of you and that in that auditorium, and we've got lots of surprises planned. So you don't want to miss that one. And then on a Sunday, as we mentioned earlier, Lachlan, Welchie, Lyle, and myself are doing WrestleRadio Australia. WrestleRadio Australia. And on the turnbuckle, a bit of a wrap-up of the weekend and what we thought. Thank you all again for joining us in the chat. Alex Firehart, Andy PWDU, Tim Wilkes, everyone else who came in. Mickey Fortune stopped by for a few minutes, as she is wont to do. Don't forget to subscribe.
Before you wrap it up, because you're doing such a good job and you're on your roll here. Seriously, guys, though, get out there and support WrestleBrania. Support us the next day. It's out the WrestleRadio Australian and on the turnbuckle thing. $15 a ticket. It's like a beer. It's how much a beer costs now. Go! Like pay for a beer. You'll sit down. You'll have a laugh. I have so many massive amounts of FOMO at the moment, knowing that this show's happening and I'm not going to be able to be there for it because I would have so much fun on that show. I have to be honest with you. It's the only thing about that weekend that I'm seriously not happy I'm not going to miss. Like, because I can stay home and watch the Elimination Chamber. That's that's something. I just watch it. I could just watch it anyway. I can't believe that I'm going to have to miss out on the Australian showcase, WrestleBrania, and the collab we're doing with on the turnbuckle, because it's going to be fun. $15. It's worth a beer. Go and fucking buy a beer, because you'll be hungover as shit anyway the next day. Buy a beer, have a beer as well. Like buy a ticket, like spend enough money for a ticket that you would have spent on a beer. Go and buy another tier. Have a hair of the dog that bit you. Get over your hangover while you listen to some guys talk some shit about the show you were just at. You'll probably end up joining in on the conversation as well, because this is what we do. You'll have some fun. You'll get ready for your flight home, and then you'll have a great weekend. So wrap the show up now, Geoff, please. Geoff,
Thank
please.
you, Todd. Todd's right. And also don't forget to support the EPW Super Show. Like, while we're talking about that, support that show. It's an important show. It could be amongst your last chances to see some highlights in Australia wrestling each other, particularly, and some matches that you will not get to see anywhere else. There's a couple that I'm really excited about. The Untouchables against the Velocities. Bring that on. Next week, we're going to look at Vendetta. Speaking of EPW, we're going to have a look at Vendetta and share our thoughts about that. Lachlan will hopefully have a working internet. He'll get the hamster to run faster in the wheel. Thank you to everyone who joined us here in the chat. Alex Whitehart, Tim Wilkes, Andy PWDU, Mickey Fortune, all came along, had a great chat with us. Thank you. You make the show what it is. We're on Twitch every week. www.twitchtv.com/WrestleRadio.au. We're also
just Wrestle Radio Australia on Twitch, mate. It's the full thing.
Oh, just Wrestle Radio Australia. We're also wherever you get your podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, StreamYard, wherever you get.
That's how we do the show, brother.
Keep subscribing.
Do you want me to have a crack at this?
And give us 5 stars. Don't forget to rank us 5 stars. It gets us in more people's ear holes. The T-shirt's still available. WRA10, tinyurl.com/WRA10. That's still available. Don't forget, every penny that is a profit on those shirts goes to Gotcha for Life and Beyond Blue, 2 very important charities helping men's mental health. If you are triggered by anything we said tonight, we really apologize. 1-800-RESPECT is available. Thank you, Andy PWDU, for bringing that to our attention. Any mental depression, you can call someone 24 hours a day in this country. We are really lucky with the level of mental care that you have, that we all have. I've used those services myself, and they are fantastic. Men's Helpline, Gotcha for Life, all of them, really, really good. Look after each other. Look after yourselves. Don't forget, the 10th and the 11th is the big MCW anniversary weekender. The first night sold out. The second night still has some standing room. Buddy is fighting on both nights. This is not one you want.
We'll probably preview that next week too with the Vendetta preview.
We'll absolutely. We'll talk further about that next week. Take care of yourselves and each other. Todd, anything else to say?
Just what we always say. Go out there in your local area, support Australian professional wrestling. It's the best thing going around in the world. Like I say to everyone, hell, I said it when I talked to Kate from Fightful, which is one of the biggest wrestling podcasts in the world, news sources in the world. I said it to her. I was like, I think Australian professional wrestling is among the best in the world. Pound for pound, we have the best wrestlers in the world wrestling weekly on our shows. Go out there and support them, because a lot of them aren't going to be around for long. Delta's not going to be around for long. The Pariah, I don't think, are going to be around for long. Go out there and support them and see them. You'll be able to say stuff like I said, like I remember when Rhea Ripley's name was Demi Bennett. So go out there, support Australian wrestling, have fun, just enjoy this thing that we love. I know there's been a lot of shit news over the last week. Don't let that take away from your love of what we all love.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We are back next week around 8:30 on your Thursday night. We'll be looking at EPW Vendetta, previewing MCW 10, 11, 12, whatever it is, previewing the anniversary. MCW, previewing those anniversary shows. Tickets to the event after that, subsequent to that, are already moving quickly, so you want to get in on that as well. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm not Lachlan Albert. I'm Geoff Setti. Take care of yourselves. Good night.
See you guys.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit.